Hey everyone, okay, so Charlotte Tilbury's Glowgasm collection continues, and this time with the eyeshadow palette, which is called Dreamgasm. Obviously, it was going to be called that. But before we get on, let me just give one sort of little plug to my Cult Beauty box, which is here containing gorgeous full-size products. Get in there! Blusher, amazing eyeshadow palette, Drunk Elephant, Alpha H, Sunday Riley. It's just a gorgeous box, and there's 40% off savings with this box as well, which is incredible. Ships internationally. I'll put a link in the description bar, just a little bit of a shameless plug. Okay, Charlotte Tilbury's Glowgasm collection. So I mentioned it before, and it's the face palettes were wonderful. And here is the eyeshadow palette. So this is what it looks like. This is the Dreamgasm eyeshadow palette. You've got 3 eyeshadow shades and a celestial shade here. Now the palette is exactly the same in terms of texture as all the other core eyeshadow palettes. So the texture is the same. Now here's some swatches of the 3. The celestial is pointless because it needs to be applied. I'll do my best, I'll show you now. But these are the colors. So really with this shade here, this is more of a copper. So it's not the same as the Dolce Vita palette, because a lot of people probably think it is. It's more copper than red. This is a true sort of warm gold. You've got your prime color, and then there's this pop color here. So let me try and get some of that. And the pop shade is very similar to the shade from the Pillow Talk. Not exactly, but it's very similar. I'm just gonna, so it's here. Do you see how pointless that is? I mean, you know, bloody lighting. This is what happens when you have real daylight come in. It's a problem. But it's a lovely, lovely palette. I'll put the link in the description bar. As you know, I'm very fond of Charlotte Tilbury and Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadow palettes. I've been a big fan since the Tom Ford days, which was just extraordinary. And now she has her own range, which is just as extraordinary. In terms of whom this will suit, generally speaking, as always, light to tan skin tones, this is going to look great. On deeper skin tones, because the colors aren't necessarily deep, you're going to get a more brightening and highlighting effect. The shade here is going to look wonderful on somebody with a deeper complexion, but bear in mind you're not going to be able to contour an eye with this because the shades are too light. But that's always the case with deeper skin tones, because obviously a lot of makeup companies really are kind of thinking more for the lighter skinned people and not adding any deep shades in order to smoke things out, which is irritating. But it's a wonderful palette. It truly is. Dreamgasm, 5.2 grams of product. Let's have a look and see if that's the same as the other palettes. Yep, it's the same. You get the same amount of product as you do with the other palettes, meaning you get just over 1 gram or so of product in here, which is pretty standard for, you know, this range. There you go. Pretty though. I mean, isn't that pretty? Do you know what's interesting? And I'm just going to tell you, a lot of times, because I carry these shades in my kit, I will often, let me show you, I'm going to ground a shade. So what I will do is I will apply a light shade. I've only got my underwear on. Hope you didn't see that. So I often will ground a shade. So I may apply the lighter shade to the eyelid. I don't like, not always to the brow bone. Then what I do is I go in with a bronzer. So I will go in with this bronzer and I will use that in the crease of the eye. That way I've grounded it. I've added a matte shade. That way then I can pick the deeper shade and use that on the outside corner to contour. That way there's not this shimmer overload. I'm grounding it with a neutral color. And what's good about grounding it with, say, a bronzer is that you can then use that same bronzer on the rest of your face, down the nose, cheekbones, whatever you're doing, and the whole thing has a bit of a harmony to it. I'm a big fan of sort of grounding things. There you go. Links. See you soon. Bye bye.